Charlie Kirk was assassinated for speaking. Not for violence, not for crime, for words. And that should terrify every one of us in the West. He was killed doing what he did best. Taking Socratic debate to universities, the very places created to challenge ideas, not silence them. His death isn't just an American tragedy. It's an attack on the foundation of Western society. This is our generation's JFK moment. The end of innocence that sparks a cultural shift. A spark that historians will one day mark as the beginning of the end of woke culture. And while his family mourns, the so-called progressives cheer, that should chill you to your core. Because if the price of free speech is now death, then every one of us in the West is under attack. From Sydney to London, from pro-Palestine mobs to marches demanding immigration sanity, Western society is more fractured than ever. And today, we decide whether Western civilization is resurgent or fades into the history books. A society survives when disagreement is civil, speech is free, and violence is off the table. In the days after Kirk's death, too many were eager to justify it and even cheered it, from media commentators to online activists, while others held candlelight vigils and said, enough. That split tells you everything about the West right now. This isn't left versus right in the old sense. It's order versus disorder. It's citizenship versus tribalism. Civilization versus the mob. If you were elated when you heard the news, that tells the world everything they need to know about who you are as a person. If you felt that kick in your guts when you heard that sorrow for his wife and children, good. That's your humanity kicking you back to life and waking you up from your slumber. The global picture and why Australia can't sit this out. United Kingdom. Yesterday, London saw one of the largest demonstrations in recent memory. Well over 1 million people marching under Unite the Kingdom, rallying against mass migration and speech policing. Many in the media are dismissing them as extremists. But the truth is simple. Ordinary people are saying their country feels unrecognisable and they want it back. United States. In America, immigration is the fault line, and it's one of the main reasons Donald Trump rose to power. The southern border has collapsed. Millions have poured in illegally, overwhelming schools, hospitals, and housing in cities from Texas to New York. Communities are fracturing under the strain, and lawlessness is spilling onto the streets. This isn't just policy failure, it's cultural decay. When order breaks down at the border, it breaks down in neighborhoods. Immigration didn't just put Trump in the White House, it keeps him relevant today. And even Charlie Kirk's assassination fits that pattern. A voice silenced, not for violence, but for words. That is the war on the West. The belief that speech is dangerous, borders are optional, and national identity doesn't matter. Australia. In our own cities, we've watched two currents surge. Anti-immigration rallies, the March for Australia actions, drawing thousands, often families and working people who are simply done with runaway immigration numbers, housing scarcity, stretched services, and leaders who dismiss their concerns. The media tries to smear the lot as organised extremists. The reality is most are concerned everyday Aussies, a grassroots movement. There were fringe elements, yes, and they deserve zero oxygen, but the core grievance, migration, outpacing housing and cohesion, is legitimate and more mainstream than the media will ever admit. Pro-Palestine marches, thousands shouting moral certainties that deny the complexity of the Middle East and too often spill into the open hostility towards the West and its allies, including burning our flag and challenging our way of life. Whatever your view of Gaza, these protests are fueling anti-immigration sentiment in our country. The playbook is always the same, from America to the United Kingdom to Australia. Label and isolate. Brand concerned citizens as Nazis or racists, so you never have to meet their arguments. It's lazy, it's toxic, and has become the reflection of a media class that lost touch with normal people long ago. Even the reaction to Kirk's killing exposed how far the woke gatekeepers will go. Popular commentators like Abby Chatfield posting her excitement at Charlie Kirk's death. Even politicians like Zali Steggall liking posts that say violence is sometimes necessary. That's not debate. That's silencing your opponents because you can't let your ideas win. These people are morally bankrupt. You don't need to agree with everything Charlie Kirk ever said to recognize what his death signifies. A man was killed for speaking. That's a desecration of the Western idea. It's what separates us from communists and fascists. Kirk wasn't an extremist. His views are shared by the majority of Americans that voted for Donald Trump. Whether the media likes it or not, these ideas won the popular vote in a democratic election. It's the moment the public woke up. If the woke project had moral authority, it lost it when some of its loudest voices jeered a corpse and called mums and tradies Nazis for simply wanting a roof over their heads, safe streets, and a culture they can recognize. A peaceful call to arms. Reject hate, race baiting, Jew hating, Christian baiting, women hating, homophobia, Nazism. None of it flies here. We win by standing taller, not by sinking lower. Speak up, publicly, post, write, advocate, ask questions, refuse the slur game. Be prepared to change your mind. Contest ideas. Organise locally. Parent groups, neighbourhood crime watch, join a club or a political party. Build communities that can't be shouted down. Vote on competence, not vibes. Whoever sets migration, housing and policing to reality gets your support. Whoever plays culture Jenga with your suburb does not. Defend your opponent's right to speak. Today, it's their event. Tomorrow, it's yours. Charlie Kirk's death is the turning point he prophesized because it exposes the stakes. The West survives only if ordinary citizens choose it. Loudly, daily, proudly. In Australia, that means borders that serve the national interest. Pride in our flag and what it stands for. Schools that teach our story without apology. Streets where protests are loud but lawful. And a media and political class that remembers who it works for. The people. The resurrection of Western values starts now. Family, freedom, responsibility, free speech, democracy, and the rule of law. These are the pillars that built our civilization. We don't need permission to defend them, only the courage to do so. Because silence is surrender, and this is no time to surrender. I'm Mel Pikos, this is Talking Tactics, and I'm asking you, peacefully, firmly, to stand up for the West.